Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. In this video, judging by the title, you probably know that, but I'm still gonna tell you what we're actually covering. We'll be covering how to create sprites, and surprisingly it's actually very easy. And before we start from scratch, I wanted to show you what I created, but the cool thing about this video is you will have to create something on your own that may be entirely different than that, or something entirely similar to that. Whatever you want, just use your imagination to create something cool in the end. And now, before we delete everything as we do in every single video, I want to say that this is a sprite, this is a sprite, this is a sprite, this is a sprite. Everything that you see here, except the main camera here, of course, is a sprite. So as you can see, this is some really ugly made face here that I created, but that's fine, that will do. Hopefully you will make something way better than this. So okay, now it's time to delete everything. Great. Let's delete that, and let's delete this whole sprite folder. So we start from scratch, delete. Now I want you to go to assets, create a new folder first, so we keep our little game organized, right? So we'll say sprites. Go in sprites. Now go on right click, go on create, then go to sprites. As you can see here, you have 6 options: square, triangle, diamond, hexagon, circle, and polygon. Now let's create firstly square. Okay, we have a square now, and if we drag this square to the hierarchy, we just created an instance of that sprite that we've created here. And when you drag and drop something on the hierarchy, it automatically places it at 0, 0. So basically it is completely centered. What you can also do, which is perfectly valid, and pretty much is the same thing as dropping it on the hierarchy, is dropping it somewhere on the scene window. So let's say I put it there, right? As you can see here, it added that object in the hierarchy, even though I just placed on the scene. So, you can see what the advantages and the disadvantages of these are. Advantage of putting it on the screen, on the scene, is that you can automatically just decide where it's gonna be. But if you want something centered in the screen, like this, then you would add it into from the hierarchy. There we go. So that's centered right now, and the reason you're not seeing it is because it's on top of the other one that we've created. So that's it. Like that's a sprite. That's a sprite. And if you right click and go on create and go on where is it, sprites, and let's say we want a circle, right? Well, that's our circle. Now when I put let's say I put this circle into there, what we basically did is we created an instance of that sprite. So when you use that sprite to populate it somewhere, you're essentially making an instance. So that is called an instance, that is called an instance. Everything here that we're creating from a sprite is called an instance of that sprite. And each of these things is each of these sprites instances are also game objects. That's why they're in the hierarchy as well. Now let's play a bit with the inspector. We already played with the inspector in the first video, so I'm not going to go in detail what you can do with the inspector, because there aren't many things you can do with the inspector. In this case, we can pretty much change the position of it. So we can use the inspector to change the position at something that we want to be placed in, and we want to put the exact position. So let's say we want it at +2, and then let's say we want it to 3, right? That's where I changed it. We could also move this around there, but it's more precise having it set in the inspector, because as you can see here, it's a floating point and it's kind of hard to actually get it at 0.0, right? As you can see. So if you want it at a specific position, that will be a whole number, then you're better off typing it somewhere, right? And you could also use the inspector, or more specifically the transform component here, to basically have them in the same distance from the edge of the camera in this case. What do you mean by that? Well, let's say we've got this at -3 and we have 3 as y, as vertical position. And now let's say we wanted this whole this circle, sorry, this square to have the same distance from the edge to the square. And what I mean is basically this distance. We want the same distance here. What we could do is just crop this x position and say 3, and here we'll say 3 as well. So now this whole thing, this distance is the same as the distance here. And how do I know that? Well, if we select that button, we'll have -3, and this the center is 0, because again, if I put this square, if we create an instance of that square and put it in the hierarchy, it's gonna put it as 0, 0, and again 0, 0 is your center. So 0 here, this is 0x. So here we're saying go -3 from the x. So -3, 1, 2, 3, right? And then here we're saying 3, so go 1, 2, and 3 from the 0x position. And again, the same thing with the y. We are saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? From the 0. Great. So we've got this thing now there. What you can also do in the inspector for these simple sprites is you can change the color, right? We can make this. So now if you want the same color, what you can do is just, oops, that's not it. So let's say we want this particular color. You can come here and copy the hexadecimal color, Control C, go to whatever object you want to paste that color to. So let's say we want to paste it to the circle. You come here, Control V, there we go. We've got the same color as this one. So you could play around with colors if you want to. So let's say we want to this color here. That seems cool. And then let's say we want to put it here again. There we go. Oh, what the heck? Did I copy that correctly? Oh, okay. So, wow. All right. I don't know why I'm seeing this. Oh, I think, yeah. It is because I messed up some things with here, which I'm not really sure what that is actually. I think that's something to do with opacity or transparency. Whatever. So don't select that. So now let me copy that again, paste it here. Now they should be the same colors. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that's pretty much it for sprites. And now let's create something, right? Something quick. And by the way, if you wanted to see your game screen, you could just drag it there. So now we're seeing both our scene screen and our game screen, right? So that's really cool. You can see how your game will look at print time, at playtime. Now let's create something. Now let me delete all of these. There we go. And let's create, what do we want to create? Let's create a human. There we go, that's our head. Now let's create the body, which I'm not really sure how to make it. Okay, there we go, that's the body. There we go, it's our body. And actually I think we can use other sprites as well. I don't think we can actually. For my example, let's use polygon. What can we use it for? Let's see. Let's be creative here. Oh, okay. There we go. Now our human here has a crown. There we go. And let's make these hands here. Alright. Actually, I'm really terrible at doing this sort of stuff, so I'm going to just create a simple face. There we go. Now if we follow our rule, let's make this -4 and -3, actually not -3 but +3. There we go. Let's create another instance which we'll call 3 and 3. So now there the distance from the edge to that sprite is the same both sides. At least it should be. Oh yeah, that should be -3. There we go. Yeah, at first I was like, what? It's not the same distance, but now it is. Alright, we've got that. Now let's create our nose. There we go, that's our nose. Let's create our, now let's make that the same horizontal distance. So let's make it this -3. There we go. And we'll make one more, which that will be 3. And what's the vertical position? It's -2. Let's make it -2. And we'll do the same thing with that, -2. There we go. Now this will be our head. Let's put that just right there. And what you can do now is, if you press Ctrl D, this will make a duplicate of whatever instance of a sprite you press that on. So if I say now, if I select both of these instances and I press Ctrl D, I'll have 2 instances of the same ones. So I'm essentially just copying them, right? Now let me get this one. Okay, let's just make this there. It's not perfectly aligned, but that's fine for now, for our little example here. And let's add beard. There we go. Let's copy that by Ctrl D again. And also another thing, you can move your instances of sprites and you can choose basically from all of these tools. This is basically a hand tool which just moves your screen around, but what we're interested at is this move tool, because now if we select this, you see this weird looking thing, and if you press on that circle there, on that square, and you see that this is essentially moving your object, right? If you press your mouse on that one, you see that you're moving it horizontally, but if you try to move it vertically, it won't work. And same thing with that arrow here, you're moving it vertically, but you can't move it horizontally. So that's cool. Now let's move that there. There we are. Let's get these. I don't know why these are kinda ugly looking, right? Let's delete these. Let's create another one. There we go. Okay, that's cleaner. I don't know why the two were actually kind of ugly looking, but there we go. Let's select these, Control D, paste that in there, and then let's copy 3 or 2. Okay, I'll go with that. And then we need one more. Control D. There we go. Now what we can do is just grab all of these, Control D, move them here. There we go. And let's make this here. Let's move this here. Let's move this somewhere here. And here. That's not really touching the edge, is it? There we go. Now it is. And let's move this a bit. And we're missing one more thing, one more instance, which is that one. There we are. And this should be actually one block. Alright, we've got our neat face here. Now the last thing we can do is just edit the colors. So let's make the beard black. Right, there we go. It's black. Oops, that's not quite touching the other instance. There we go. Let's select all of these, all of the mount, all of the mouth. Okay, I forgot the word for a second. And let's change this to that color, orange reddish. And let's make the eyes. You can, if you select an instance and then you hold control key and then you select another one, now you've selected both of these instances. So if I change the color, both of them will change. That's cool. And let's just keep the nose. Actually no. Let's change this to, there we go. Actually no, let's change it to red. So if we run that, that's our little game here. It's quite nice. But as terrible as my attempt was, I urge you to try to do something cool, so you will better get grip of how to actually copy stuff, how to use the move tool, how to use the rec tool, I think it was called rec tool, yeah, the rec tool, which is basically, it allows you to resize stuff, right? And you'll be also able to make instances. Just try to be creative. And apart from that, that'll be it for today's video. No coding unfortunately in this video, but in the other video hopefully we will actually do some coding. But for now, thank you guys for watching and see you on the next video.